Yay! Well, welcome back to Storytelling on the Plains.
Another beautiful Sunday.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even tell you what I did. Now we're on the air, so I'm going to say it.
Okay.
I was at the pumpkin patch.
I was wondering if you had gone down there, and I forgot to ask you about it.
Yep. So a little shout out to Billy Estes' pumpkin patch out near Bayard. He does a pumpkin patch every year, and it was great. It was absolutely wonderful. This is his opening day, and he'll be doing it every weekend until the end of October.
Oh, nice, nice. I thought it was only like a weekend or maybe 2 weekends.
No.
And so technically there's still 6 weeks left.
Yep, 6 weeks, plenty of time to get out there. This is just the opening week, and it was great. There's next Saturday there's going to be a haunted corn maze.
Cool.
And so,
cool. Has he still got his sunflowers growing?
Yep, sunflowers are growing, dahlias are growing, all the flowers, the pumpkins are wonderful. I had a really great time yesterday, and they have all the games for kids. That's what's great.
Yeah, he really gears it really well for kids in the community.
It's just amazing.
And I remember from interviewing him a few years ago, a lot of the little buildings he has were like remnants from things in Baird that was for little kids in the past, and then the city was going to get rid of them, and he was like, no, give them to me.
Yeah, he refurbished them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have a little bounce house and swings and a corn maze, a wonderful corn maze.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Get
on out there.
And I was seriously considering going yesterday, and I was going to text you because I think he probably has signs. I roughly know how to get there, but I know I would miss the right turnoff. I'm assuming he's got a sign that says, hey, turn here.
It does. I believe it's off of County Road 73. As you're heading out you're heading out of Scottsbluff on 26, almost like you're heading towards Alliance. And if you've reached Bayard where you turn off, you've gone too far. So it's basically the hill right before you get to the Bayard turn off.
I was thinking it was right after, so see, I would have missed it.
Yeah, not right after, right before. So, and you'll go off down a dirt road about ways, and then there's a big sign, and turn left, and
Yeah. And since it's that time of year, I was seriously considering going yesterday, and then I got a vaccination and had an adverse reaction to it, so I just laid at home and whined, like you do. Yeah. So I'm glad that it's still
It'll be going on for the same time for quite a while. So don't think it's the last time. So,
good.
And it's Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, good. 2 free days for me. Well, not totally, because we record on Sundays. So.
Yeah, as I said, we can go over there. We'll have to chat with Billy.
Yeah, we can experiment with our traveling recorders and see if we can screw it up again. Oh, gosh. But last week on Storytelling on the Plains, we talked about Panorama Point, which is the highest point in Nebraska. And today we're going to talk about the Tri-State Monument because it's only about a mile away from Panorama Point. So if you're out there to see one, you might as well go see the other one. It just makes sense to me. And also in our last episode, we referred a bit to Steve Frederick's article about it. And I want to read something that Steve wrote that really got me down on the rabbit trail. When I originally was going to include the Tri-State Monument, I thought it might be a few paragraphs, and we could include it with Panorama Point. Mm-hmm. And so I read this paragraph that Steve wrote, and I just went down that rabbit trail and got a whole episode out of it. So Steve wrote in his article, State Summit doesn't cast much of a shadow, but it makes for an interesting trip, that the Tri-State Monument identifies where surveyor Oliver N. Chaffee established the point in 1869. An L-shaped border fence separates Wyoming from the other 2 states, with the fenced monument parked where they'd normally converge. There you can stand in 3 states at once if you're able to balance on top of a narrow stone post. I have since seen a picture of this stone post. Please don't do that. Really, please don't do that. Engraving on a metal plate indicates each state, and a nearby plaque identifies latitude and longitude and such. Admission is free, although a sign requests that you close the gate when you leave. Of course, you close the gate because it's on private property and they're ranchers, and you really don't want those poor ranchers chasing cattle.
It's not fun.
No.
I've been a part of that. No, it's not fun.
Yeah. And I've been, there aren't gates, but when you go out to the unmarked graves on Rubidoux Drive, I used to go down Carter Canyon Road to the Rubidoux Trading Post, which they removed, which I really hate, but that's a whole other story for another time. And then you can go up around the hill and come back full circle to the unmarked grave and the second trading post. And on that dirt road, there's cattle grates. So there's no fences that you would have to open or close. And on more than one occasion, because someone told me drive slow when you go. And at first I was like, why? And then I came around a bend. Yeah.
Yeah, those cow grates hurt.
Yeah.
Not easy on your car.
And there's cows in the middle of the road. And I don't want to hit a cow either, because that would
Please
not.
don't run over the cows.
Yeah, that would not be cool.
They didn't do
either.
nothing to you.
No, they're just being cows out there. So if you go and visit nearby Panorama Point, you might as well come here because it really is a historically significant thing in Nebraska. And in order to understand why, we need to go all the way back to 1869. The plaque at the site explains the basics. So Oliver N. Chaffee, U.S. astronomer and surveyor, established this corner monument August 17, 1869, at intersection of the 41st parallel of north latitude with the 27th degree of west longitude, west of Washington, D.C. Art Henriksen and Howard Keeler rehabilitated the monument in 1981. Federal, state, and local organizations coordinated additional preservation in 1997. And if that's all you want to know while you're out there, that just gives you the gist of it. But I wanted to know more, so I started digging. According to the website Pass Bagger, in July 2004, the Kimball Rotary Club and a local Boy Scout constructed a surrounding fence and gave the monument a facelift by placing an engraved metal plate with Colorado, Nebraska, and Wyoming, indicating their border around the marker. But we still don't know why it's so important. It's just, the folks that are down there in Kimball, again, are just like, this is important, so we need to keep it. So according to the Nebraska Land Magazine article, Monument Hits the Marker by Deb Carpenter Nolting, when the tri-state area, Nebraska, Colorado, and Wyoming, opened to homesteading, an acreage east of the marker was being farmed. But according to Dennis Keeler, whose land sits under the marker, the rest of the ground in both Nebraska and Colorado has never been broke by the plow. There are still buffalo wallows in the pasture and wagon ruts from trails the farmers and ranchers took to Pine Bluffs, Wyoming, long ago. And that's true of a ton of things. I swear almost every episode we talk about something. It's not that hard to imagine what it was like in 1869 because the land really hasn't changed.
Not that much until you get to the farmlands. Really, Alliance is a good example. The places around Alliance has been farmed. So you'll see a lot of it's been flattened. A lot of the hills have been destroyed. A lot of the rocks have been taken out. And then you get out here and it gets much more different. So I think that's a good example of like an area that has farmed versus one that we have done agriculture here, but not to an extensive degree out north. Or too far south.
And even up to the north, I mean, they're still doing potato farming up there as well as other. I mean, we do have a little bit of ag farming here, but again, probably because it's prairie land, it's better for ranching still.
It is. Well, up near Harrison, it's almost impossible. You're almost a mile up.
Yeah.
So the weather and everything is against you, so they don't
yeah, I was just going to say, does anyone in the Harrison area do farming, or is it all ranching?
Mostly ranching.
Ranching. Okay.
If they do farming,
is it just for themselves?
It's for feed. Well, maybe
for feed.
For feed the cows.
Okay.
They might do some alfalfa or hay, but they usually won't do pivot or irrigation. They'll do natural field farming. Just grow a field of alfalfa and see how it does.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's go back in time and we'll learn all about this place. Dale Sanderson, who runs the usns.com website, has a great write-up about the marker, and I'm going to reference him quite a bit here because he's done the research with the dates and the data. It's not a matter of laziness, it's a matter of why reinvent the wheel when he's already gone through and done the data, and here's this date, here's where it's from, and here's 2 or 3 sources from where it's from. It's kind of silly to go back and do the same thing again. So we know it was identified on August 17th, 1869, but the location might not be completely accurate. According to the congressional definition of the boundary of Colorado, this point is theoretically where the 41st parallel north latitude intersects 27 degrees west longitude as measured from the Washington meridian. And again, that's Washington, D.C.
D.C., yeah.
However, this monument was first set by Oliver Chaffee during his 1869 survey, and due to the technological limitations of his day, it is not exactly right, although his survey does define the official boundary regardless of its accuracy.
You didn't have GPS back then.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah. He did a good job. He's not too far off, but, it's... Nobody's going to quibble about it. It's out in the middle of nowhere. So,
Well, it's quite remarkable that they got as close as they did at all.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to what we have now, we can get exactly right down to we could put a laser level down the states if we wanted to.
So many American surveys between 1850 and 1884 were based on the Washington meridian, which was officially abolished by Congress in favor of the Greenwich prime meridian in 1912. 27 degrees west of Washington is a few miles away from the 104th degree of longitude west of Greenwich. Without getting into too many details, we did the Washington meridian because it's the United States. That's the main point in the U.S. is D.C.
Start somewhere.
Yeah. And then eventually at some point in time, everybody in the world was like, let's do the Greenwich meridian. And so everything is slightly off because of that. And you've also got better technology to get more accurate readings. It doesn't matter because the marker would still be in the same place. So it doesn't matter. The only thing that would change would be, it would be like the 25th meridian instead of the 27th. It's...
27 is a good number.
Yeah.
We're just going to stick with that.
Yeah, I like 27. So we're sticking with that. It was also reported at the time, and the story passed on from there, that Chaffee used a huge mound of stones to surround the original marker, and the rocks you see strewn around the site today could be the remnants of the original pile. And the reason why they're fairly certain of that is because it was a ton of stones that he used, and nobody's, it's not little stones that you can put in your pocket and walk away with them. They're bigger stones. And it's in the middle of nowhere. No one's going to take those stones. They're just there. They've been chilling there for more than 100 years. So before we get to the rehabilitation of the area, there's some interesting history to get through. When I read about this, it was just, this is hilarious. And hopefully throughout this, I felt a little less bad because sometimes there's confusing information, and then, some newspaper sites don't post the dates that things were put online anymore. So it's like, well, when did this story run? And you always worry, did you get everything right? Mm-hmm. And Behind the Bastards is currently running. I think it was a 6-part episode on Heinrich Himmler. They just finished it, and it was 6 parts, and it just got up to the war starting. And the whole time, when they got to part 3, Robert was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I go, I feel you, because I just did this story on this marker, and some of it was confusing. I hopefully I got it all together. And then our next episode will easily be a 3-parter. And I worried on that too, because I had so many sources. Am I getting everything right and the timelines right? So if I do make a mistake, again, I'm happy for someone to shoot me an email so we can fix it. So the land where the tri-state marker resides is owned by Dennis Keeler's family. They have owned it since the Depression, when his grandfather purchased it for 7 cents an acre. I calculated the year 1931 as just a guess, because that's the he bought it during the Depression, so I just picked a year during the Depression. And in 1931, that 7 cents would be $1.49 an acre today, and if you actually try to purchase an acre of land today, it's about $3,935. So he got it for nothing, absolutely nothing. I mean, if someone today said, "Yeah, I'll give it to you for $1.49 an acre," you would snatch that crap up.
Yes, please.
Yeah. The Keelers have been in the Weld County area since 1893, when James arrived with his brothers Ben and Ollie. According to Carpenter Knowlting's article, one homesteaded east of the oil road that comes south out of Pine Bluffs. The other broke ground 3 miles southeast. Jim homesteaded on a 1.25 miles straight south of the marker. And I just wanted to say that's another very, not just Nebraska thing, because you're here at Nebraska, Colorado, Wyoming connection, but he homesteaded east of the oil road that comes south out of Pine Bluffs. Everybody that's there knows exactly where that's at. But for me, I'm going, wait, what? Where is that?
Down yonder ways.
Yeah. At some point in time, Jim purchased Ben's homestead and began acquiring land. Then the Stewart place became available. James purchased that land for cheap because the previous owner, Stewart, tried to scam the tax man. The house was sort of split in half, and this, I know of a few houses back in my hometown that were like this, where part of your house is in one place for property taxes and the other part is in for another place. And when I went to school, this one girl, her bedroom was in our school district. Her brother's bedroom was in another school district. They were not allowed to just pick one district and stay. And they did come around and check because they thought, okay, we'll just say his bedroom is our parents' bedroom because that's in the school district too. Yeah, no, the school district was, and they were Catholic, so the young man decided, he's like, well, can I go to Burke High School, which was the Catholic high school in my town. But they were split, and so every year their property and school taxes were split, and they had to pay to 2 different districts because of it, which is stupid. Just draw around the house or pick one, whatever. So this house, one half was located in Nebraska, and the other half was in Weld County, Colorado. And the owner didn't pay taxes for years. And I'm going to read from the article in the Western Nebraska Observer again. When Weld County would come to collect taxes, he said, "You can't serve me because I'm in Nebraska." And when Nebraska came, he said, "You can't serve me, I'm in Weld County." So
that.
Yeah. It wasn't until the invention of the telephone the 2 counties communicated and came out at the same time. So he can't, he's got to pay somebody.
Shouldn't have gotten a telephone.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
Yep. That darn Alexander Graham Bell inventing the phone and ruining his scam.
Yep.
And he lost his property. So the property was bought for those back taxes, which was about 7 cents an acre. I just find that absolutely hilarious. You can only cheat the tax man for so long before it catches up to you. And the Keelers still own that property today. So they did the wise thing. They had a bit of property. I guess at some point the brother was like, yeah, I don't want it anymore. Bought it from him, and then eventually bought the other brother out. And then they're a big enough operation that they can keep expanding. And then even if you needed a loan, you're still getting this property for a song. Because the guy wanted to try and cheat the tax man. That's one thing I've never done, because I don't want to go to jail. I do not want to go to jail. So the Depression hit everyone hard, it seems, and James took the opportunity to purchase land left by homesteaders who decided to move on to somewhere else. And if you study any kind of history, you know during the Depression and the Dust Bowl, a lot of people gave up and left. And because they left and they're never coming back, a lot of them, let's say it was supposed to be $1 an acre. They're like, oh, yeah, 50 cents. Yeah, that's fine. Because they're not coming back. They're done with the area. So his farm was eventually about 2,800 acres. That's great, but all that hard work at that point in time took its toll on James. At 42, he had a heart attack, and this led to his son Howard and Dennis's dad to take over. Dennis, who was 20 at the time, worked the land on shares with his grandfather until he passed away. And Dennis eventually went to college and got married, but moved back to take over the farm when his dad retired. His son, Cotton, also helps out on the farm today. So it's still, that's a big thing out here. Family. Oh, yeah. Family taking over.
That's the only way you keep them.
Yeah.
You have to have family.
Yeah, because otherwise you're going to get big conglomerates. And I'm not getting into politics, but it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next few years if we've got another 1980s on our hand with farms.
Yeah, it will be quite interesting.
Yeah. Throughout all of this, James made sure his family understood the significance of the marker and that it was important to share it with anyone who wanted to see it. So this goes all the way back to the beginning. James owns the land, the marker's already there, and he's very much in the camp of whoever wants to see this should be able to come and see it. Just, be respectful. The family's desire to continually allow it to be seen has seen numerous groups and individuals over the year to help preserve this marker. Because if you see pictures of it, it did, you've got jerks every time period on the planet. You can only do so much when your marker is out in the middle of nowhere. You can't see when people are screwing around with it. But there's always groups of people that are like, we need to preserve it.
Mm-hmm. Like it's the Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing when I was a Boy Scout, was to go find places like that, and go find any sort of landmark or any sort of monument that might need some tidying up. I think I tidied up out near the lighthouse and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. You do that kind of stuff just to help out.
Yeah,
so and that's great.
And it's great not only for the folks who have the marker or the lighthouse or whatever it might be, because they're usually strapped for funds to be able to do that. Like the monument. I mean, the monument is a federal government site, and every year they have a cleanup for the idiots who scratch on the sandstone to smooth it off. Because it does help. It costs a lot of money to do it, and then there's always some kind of civic organization that's looking to help their community, to make their community better. So everybody wins all around. And if it's with a younger group like the Boy Scouts, they're carrying on that tradition. They're learning to take care of things.
I guess we should call them the Scouts now.
Oh, yeah. It's the Scouts. Changed. Yes.
Things have changed. The Scouts.
Yes. So here is the story of the marker. The short version of human beings goes like this. For all of its life, the tri-state marker has been a cornerstone. idiots went there and used a hammer to take chunks off of it so that they could have a memento. You're idiots. I don't care who you are. If you are purposely going there with a hammer to hack off a chunk, you're an idiot.
I was wondering, who has a museum of this in their house?
Yeah.
Like you walk in, it's like, hey, buddy, check out what I got. I got a huge collection on my wall of all the broken bits of monuments that I busted out through things throughout the world.
Yeah. And they're all labeled each one.
Who the fuck does that?
Idiots. That's who does that. So Howard Keeler and his friend Art Henriksen were sick of this behavior, so they got a piece of marble and granite and sandstone as the marker. And I'll explain that more in a minute. But idiot humans destroyed that as well through vandalism, so they had to come back and put a fence around it. So these two dudes, one of them who owns the land that the marker is on, is like, we need to do this thing, and it was made of 3 different, we'll get to it in a minute, but it was made of 3 different stones to represent the 3 different states, to protect the marker. And jerks came back and screwed with that and vandalized it.
Yeah.
So they're like, all right, so now we got to put a fence around it because you're morons.
And that takes away a lot of the fun of it. It really does.
Yeah.
Part of the fun is being able to get up close to it and being able to see it for yourself.
Yeah. And it's like I've told you before, I was up to and touched the Liberty Bell.
Mm-hmm. And can't do that.
And can't do that anymore. And the same with David in Italy. Mm-hmm. I reached up and I touched his foot. And you can't do that anymore either. One idiot changed that. And, you know, it's ridiculous and sad that these idiots are everywhere and it doesn't change. This is, you know, 100 years ago, this was in 1981, and they're still doing it. Just, you know, leave it alone. Touch it if you want to. Okay, touch it. But
I can't imagine what like places like the Smithsonian goes through. Just like shit that breaks because stupid kids or stupid adults and stupid kids.
There was, I'm trying to remember, one of the museums I was in Greece, and I learned you can have too much of a good thing. You know, that saying goes, you can't have too much of a good thing. I saw so many museums in Greece that it got to a point where I was just walking up.
No more.
Yeah, I took a picture of the thing and then took a picture of the description of the thing, and that's how we did like the last 2 or 3 museums because I was so museumed out.
You can burn out.
Yeah, you really, really can. But there was one museum we were in where everything was just open, and if you reached in, you could touch stuff. Mm-hmm. And I had my hands behind my back, and I'm leaning in to get a better look, and my head went a little too far. And they have silent alarms. All of a sudden, there was a dude right behind me. He's like, you need to step back. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I got so close. But they have silent alarms, so you can't get too close. Of course, this is out in the middle of nowhere in nature. They're not going to have that. Mm-hmm. But I hate people that are jerks. I really hate people that are jerks. So Art and Howard did the rehabilitation of the monument in 1981, or marker, whichever you want, because that was another thing too, and I didn't catch that when I went back and proofread it. Mm-hmm. Depending on what website you read, it's a marker or a monument, and it could technically be both. The marker was surrounded by different types of stone as a base, with the marker set in the middle of it to preserve it. On top is a USGS benchmark, and according to the High Pointers Club, a brass disc was drilled into the top center of this cornerstone in 1990. The stone base acted as a map of sorts to identify common rock found in each state. So Nebraska has buff sandstone, Wyoming has black slate, and Colorado has red lion sandstone. So that's why they made the 3 different kinds of stone around the base of it. So when you know where each part was, and it had it etched in, you know, Colorado, Nebraska, Wyoming. And so it was just, you know, your square base with this marker sticking up out of the middle. And then people had to go and screw with that. So they had to put a metal cover on it, because people are idiots. So according to Carpenter Knowlting's article, in 1997, local, state, and federal organizations worked together to further preserve the monument. 3 different types of stone were set in place around the marker to show each of the 3 states. The base showed the latitude and longitude. Not long after that, Dennis said, some kids came in with a sledgehammer and broke up the base.
Kids didn't have a lot to do in the 90s.
Yeah, apparently not. So if I got the date right from what I was trying to research, that happened on August 17th, 1997. I mean, seriously, they raise money. It's not cheap to do this. And then it's designed, it's a square, but it's designed as 3 rectangles within the square for each state. And it looks really cool. And some kids are like, let's go get a sledgehammer. Idiots. Idiots.
People can't appreciate art.
I mean, I even get mad. I forget who it was. Somebody came in to some museum somewhere. This is more than a decade ago, probably 2 decades ago. It wasn't the Louvre, but it was some other famous museum. And, like, just came in with, like, the red paint that you can squeeze out of the bottle and like squirted it all over some famous painting. I don't know if it was a Matisse or something like that. It was an artist that I was always like, when I see their art, but I also recognize this.
But still, it's like, what are you doing?
But yeah, I'm not going to go and splatter it with paint. Why? What's the point? I wish they knew who had done it so they could like hit each one of them once on the foot with the sledgehammer.
Nowadays you have those small cameras you can put anywhere.
That's true. Yeah. As a matter of fact, my nephew has a couple of those, the wildlife cameras where you set out in the middle, and they can either record right there onto the SD card, or the ones that he has, they have SIM cards with AT&T. And every time a picture is taken, so it senses movement, and every time a picture is taken, it sends the picture to him on his phone.
This is slick.
So they could do something here like that, but hopefully people aren't idiots anymore. I don't know. That's not true.
You looked around.
Yeah, I'm like, there's my idealisms coming to the fore there. So there were additional repairs made to the protective fence in July 2003, and Bob Whitney reported to the High Pointers in June 2004. It coincidentally was the day the attractive corner marker was being repaired from an act of vandalism. It was interesting to learn of the local interest in financing this project and making the monument more vandal-proof. Sorry, if I had written this, I would have reworded it and paraphrased it. I wouldn't have used a direct quote because it's awkward.
Anyway.
Yeah, anyway. So also in 2004, Kimball Rotary Club and the Boy Scouts, again, helped with a...
Scouts.
Yeah, sorry, it's the Scouts now. It was the Boy Scouts when they did this. It's just the Scouts now. Yeah. See,
it's gonna take a while.
Yeah,
it's taking a while for me.
Because that's
I
still.
only know because I have a friend who has a girl in the Scouts now, so it's kind of more of like, okay, the Scouts.
The Scout. Okay. So, yeah. See, and
for her sake, yeah.
I don't know anybody in the Scouts at this point in time.
Yeah. I miss her popcorn. I really do.
Oh, that's right. They used to sell the popcorn every year. Yeah.
Popcorn. Plenty of Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah.
But I love popcorn.
And even the Girl Scout cookies don't taste like they used to. And the ones with the coconut, the Girl Scout cookies with the coconut, depending on whether you buy them east or west of the Mississippi River, they are named something different. And they taste better on the eastern side of the Mississippi River. There's a slightly different recipe. Because I remember when I bought them when we first moved out here, and of course I bought like 7 boxes because they're my favorite ones. And I had some, I'm like, these are still good, but they don't taste right. And it wasn't until about 5 or 6 years later that I learned the recipe is slightly different.
It's like the second, Addams Family. They're made of real Girl Scouts.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. So
Coming back, way on a tangent there.
Yeah, we got way on a tangent there.
Snacks.
So stop making me hungry, Connor.
Right?
Because I haven't eaten yet today, and what time is it?
It's almost noon.
It's almost noon. I haven't eaten yet. I got up at 6. Also in 2004, Kimball Rotary Club and the Scouts helped with a small reconstruction project, which marked the Rotary's 100th anniversary. They placed a metal plate with the state names engraved, as well as a fence around the marker. So all that neat sandstone is under, what's left of it is underneath this metal marker now.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah.
I like the different ideas of the
Yeah.
So you can't see that now?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Pity.
Jerks with sledgehammers. Sorry, I have awful thoughts of, oh, where'd you hit it with the sledgehammer? Give me your foot. Okay. How many times did you hit it? Okay. I'm a terrible person. So Dan Kinnison assisted Howard in keeping the monument in good shape. Issues arose again when people didn't respect that the marker was on private property, leaving gates open and taking chunks from the monument as souvenirs. So, seriously, people, stop. So Carpenter Nolting wrote, later Dennis was contacted about working with Kimball County Tourism to make the marker accessible to tourists while still keeping the property safe. County commissioners on all 3 sides of the fence came together with Dennis to put in a parking lot and a walking gate into the pasture. And I have not been out to this yet, but from what I understand, if it's like all the other walking gates I've ever seen, it's not a gate in the traditional sense where you lift the lever, open it, go in. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a little L. So you walk in, you go to the left a little bit, then you go to the right a little bit. Yeah. So
I got you.
So the animals can't get out, but then you also can't be stupid and leave a gate open because there's nothing.
It's one of those trail gates that lets people into private land off into trailing. Yeah. And like you said, it doesn't get the cows out.
Yeah. And I would like to go down here one day. I don't want to see it. I don't know why I never have. Yeah.
Is there anything left of it?
Yes, there is. It's still good size. Just idiots go away. I might go out there with a sledgehammer, so if I see any of the idiots, I got one handy.
What if it's like some conspiracy, like from the old family that used to own this land? These are all just descendants of that.
Yeah.
They just come back all the time. It's like, aha, you took my land.
Well, there's a conspiracy I hadn't thought of. Yeah. So the family has always felt the responsibility to maintain the legacy of the marker and Jim's wish to keep it open to the public. Dad respected my grandpa's wishes, and I've respected my dad's wishes, Dennis said. Issues continue occasionally, however. Even with ground rules written boldly on signage, people still drive in. I'm not going to close it off, but disrespect will close this, and lots of historical places like this, Dennis concluded. And I have to say that as part of the research in this, I watched a little video of some dude who drove right up to it, and he's like, oh, the dirt's all, like my little Toyota Yaris is not going to be able to drive directly up to the marker because it's not a graded dirt road, and even if you've got an F-250, you might still have trouble and get stuck. That's why they put the parking lot in. Park at the parking lot, get your butt out of the car, and it's like, it's not even a quarter of a mile. Walk up there. Just stop because, I read somewhere else that Dennis had seriously considered closing it off because of this. And he's like, but I want to continue to honor my father and my grandfather's wishes to keep this open. So That's why we put a parking lot in. Stop.
Well, and again, like you said, this is one man's lifetime. Who knows what happens after that?
Yeah.
After this guy goes, anybody else take over and do the same thing?
Yeah.
And that's another thing people don't think about. Like the generational farm kids are going down. There's not as many as there used to be to keep on these properties, and a lot of them go away.
Yep. And I would suspect if something like this stayed and it became a big old corporate piece of land, you're going to have to pay to go see it.
That would be there's several properties up north owned by like places like Bill Gates that get turned into wildlife reserves, but they're private. You're not supposed to be on there.
Yeah. Yeah. So a 2022 article for the Western Nebraska Observer also noted the walking trail. A walking trail to the tri-state marker where Nebraska, Wyoming, and Colorado meet will allow one to experience the high plains without disturbing the natural beauty of the private property. Previously, the landowner got to the point where he was thinking of closing off access to the marker because the private property was being damaged by carelessness. So, I mean, it was bad enough that the dude basically said, I don't want to close this. What can we do? And the newspaper said, we can write an article about it, and hopefully people read it. And, I did that many times when I worked for the Star Herald. How do we let people know about this? Or
public awareness.
Yeah, yeah. Or Saturday we're going to, do a cleanup at the Rebecca Winter site. Anybody that wants to come and help, come help. It's just getting the public awareness out there. And hopefully nothing bad has happened since then. But humans really tick me off sometimes because it's not that hard to be respectful. But I'm also glad the family has decided to keep this open to those who can be respectful and who want to go and see this marker for whatever reason they have that they want to see it. If you visit, you might be tempted to hike between the two monuments. So between the highest point in Nebraska and the tri-state marker. Don't do that. Don't. This is all private land. When you go, drive slowly, and at the tri-state marker, park in that parking lot. Panorama Point, you can drive right up to it, but be constantly aware of all of the animals around you, because you might go today and your friend might go tomorrow and you don't see any animals, and then tomorrow the bison decided that's where they want to be for the day. So just
don't mess with the fluffy cows.
Yes.
They are mean, fluffy cows.
Yeah, I would not mess with them. There is deep mud around here as well, and a two-wheel drive car is not recommended. I think I could get there in my car to the parking lot, but definitely not past it, and you're not supposed to go past it anyway. Yeah. So just be respectful. Stay on the designated trail between the fence and the transmission line posts. And there, except for at the water tanks, there's water tanks near where the parking lot is, I believe. And so it should be pretty easy to identify where you're supposed to be. Anything else is considered trespassing. So you can walk down that crappy road that's a walking trail now, but just don't wander off. Again, no cell signals out here, so wander off at your own peril. We'll find you when the bison poops you out.
And just remember, if we do find you and you do get to the hospital, you'll be arrested after that for trespassing. So it's going to be a really bad day for you. Yeah.
So really, just park your car in the parking lot and walk up there. I've seen several different posts that say that it's about 3/4 of a mile walk. That's nothing. That's not a long walk. And people who are adventurous that want to go see this kind of thing anyway, that's a nothing walk. So 1.5 mile round trip, that's nothing. I mean, I walk like 2 to 3 miles just around my house every day without leaving my house. So, exactly. This is really nothing. So due to the limitations of the time, Chaffee's marker is off by several hundred feet. So it doesn't matter. I think it's pretty good. He didn't have GPS.
Yeah.
And he's just several hundred feet off. Not worried about that at all. The border of Nebraska was just redrawn. And they just kind of shifted it a little bit. It doesn't matter. Because the same family has owned the whole property all of these years. So it doesn't matter. You want to redraw the border? Okay, fine, whatever.
Put it wherever I want.
Yeah. Uniquely, the tri-state marker isn't accessible from Nebraska. You need to start at Beach Street in Pine Bluffs, Wyoming, and drive south for 12 miles, and that road becomes County Road 164. Then park in Colorado and stroll 3/4 of a mile back to the marker to be in Nebraska.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
We all do things here in a roundabout way.
Yep. So Chaffee also marked the corners of Nebraska, Kansas, and Colorado, but that's not in our coverage area. That's way over southeast.
Yeah.
Nebraska, somebody else can do a podcast and do that. So we won't be covering it, but I just thought it was interesting that he didn't do just this one. And the Nebraska, Wyoming, South Dakota border is in our coverage area for our podcast, and maybe one day we'll get to it. From what I could figure out, it's near Brush Creek, and according to Steve Frederick's article, it is about 1.5 miles north of where Indian Creek Road passes into Wyoming. It's on private property with only a faint trail leading to it. So unless you count cows, I'm guessing it doesn't see a lot of traffic. But it would be neat to maybe one day figure out where the heck that is, and then go start nagging your husband and be like, hey, you probably know who owns that land. Can we go up there?
Isn't it always interesting, though?
That's okay.
The ones that, the places that do make it a big deal, like the big markers that go over
like the Four Corners.
The Four Corners, yeah. And places that make a much, much bigger deal of that kind of stuff. I think that's kind of interesting. Yeah. And then you have places like this where it's like, Yeah.
And, it's off by, a couple hundred feet. Well, just shift the border, no big deal, But I just thought they were interesting. I honestly did not know about the tri-state marker till I was doing Panorama Point because I wanted to do it. And then I thought, this is just, this will just be an add-on at the end of Panorama Point. And then I started reading. I'm like, oh my God, no, this is its own episode. So, but if you do go down to one or the other, make the time to go see the other because they're practically on top of each other. And when we have the zombie apocalypse, feel free to run across the field between the two. Hopefully the zombie hordes don't get you before you get there. But, otherwise, go around.
If there's zombies that far in the middle of nowhere, I think you're screwed.
Yeah. I had that conversation many years ago with an editor about how he and I would probably be okay during a zombie apocalypse because we know how to grow our own food and basically take care of ourselves. And, once you get out of Scottsbluff, there aren't a lot of people around. So unless the zombie horde just walks through western Nebraska, we'll just go hide in a building till they walk through and you're all good. Just don't stand at Panorama Point because you'll be exposed. But anyway, I think these are two neat little things about our area out here that I thought I would share with our listeners. And we'll be back next time with a very long episode. It's going to be at least, I think it's 3 parts. And hopefully I did a good job on that one too. For anyone else, if you ever go down here to Panorama Point or the Tri-State Marker, enjoy your day. Take some water and sandwiches, and don't get eaten by bison. But for now, I'm Irene.
And I'm Connor.
And this is Storytelling on the Plains.